I thought about starting this off by clarifying not all debate people, but actually, if you need that clarification, you are a part of the problem. Debate people have the most cooked brains I have ever seen on human beings. They are the most insufferable, hard to be around, hard to understand for normal people, type of people out there. And I didn't realize how bad it was until I was much older. I feel like most people take this for granted. Like most people just would never want to be around a type of person who likes to debate as like a casual thing that they do. Like just a part of their personality is, I like debate. Terrible, terrible human quality. And unfortunately, one that I used to have up until a point where I realized that debate people are kind of disgusting. And the reason I realized it is because I got into a debate with a guy called Destiny. I was reminded about it because he just went on the Adam Friedland show and kind of looked like a dumbass clown on there. But everything that was wrong with him on that show is exactly what was wrong with him when he debated me. And the results were very different because I was in his court, I was on his show, I was in front of his audience who love him, who celebrated him, who thought he did an amazing job talking to me, even though I came away thinking this guy's a fucking idiot. And I argued my point on several more videos, and ultimately people saw it as, nah, you lost that one. And I was very confused about that. Now, in retrospect, I think it's because that audience is very young. And a lot of the core of that audience are debate people, which is just a wrong type of a person to be. It's like, I was unfortunately positioning myself towards that sector of the internet by being somebody who does analysis in an argumentative style. Like, I haven't really done it as much since then, and I think maybe that's what people realize is missing from my current work as compared to what it used to be, is I'm not trying to argue because I think arguing is stupid. I mean, like it's something stupid people do, and only stupid people. Smart people don't argue, they're just right about shit. They just do things. They don't worry about having to prove to other people that it's a good decision. They just do it, and then people go, oh wow, that was a great decision. They don't have to have a debate about it. What I learned from my argument with Destiny, the explicit text of it, was that in the eyes of debate people, the person who wins a debate is the person who argues better, not the person who is correct. And I think that's a really weird perspective because it's very like debate club focused. Like it takes every argument and it tries to imagine it in the context of being a theoretical, philosophical conversation, as opposed to debate what I imagine in like a practical sense. Most of the time when an argument or a debate is happening, it is because something is being done and there's an argument about how it should be done or whether it should be done. And that's not in the realm of theoretical. In that realm, whoever is correct needs to be listened to. That is the realm of trust. If you've got, let's say in the sushi kitchen, you've got Jiro and you've got like some white guy and you need an explanation of how to make a great sushi. Like you should ask Jiro, because even if he uses 0 words, even if he doesn't speak your language, he could fucking through implicit facial expression tell you more about what you need. He'll just look at you in a way that says you need to work a lot harder, and you'll think, of course, that was obviously the answer. You don't need to hear whatever the other dude is going to try to tell you makes the good sushi. I think everybody understands this except for debate people. Look at the size of that friggin' house. When I was a kid, I really looked up to my mom, and my mom's an incredibly argumentative person. And she's also very intelligent, and I mean that in terms of IQ. She has a high IQ. She is very good at logic puzzles, very good at test taking, that kind of stuff. I'm not as good as she is at that kind of shit. I am legitimately less intelligent in that sense than my mom. But however, as I've grown up, I've come to realize my mom does not know fucking shit. She knows how to argue, but she doesn't know information with which to argue and does not really like to learn it, and she's not very curious. She's just not somebody who goes out in search of information. And so she tries to win arguments constantly. But a lot of the time I'm like, Mom, I understand how you're working through the logic in your head based on what you know, but you don't know enough. You don't have enough of the information. So an endless amount of speculation will not improve the, the results you get. You could know exactly how to solve a Rubik's Cube, but if two of the stickers have been placed on the wrong sides in the beginning, you're never going to solve that Rubik's Cube. You have to be able to think enough outside the box to be able to recognize as you're putting it together, oh, wait a minute, something's wrong here. This isn't how one of these should look, And my mom, she would probably get there eventually. She doesn't do Rubik's Cubes, but she would get there if she had to solve a logic problem of realizing eventually, but it would take forever because she's not expecting something outside of the paradigm that is established by the apparent rules of the system. That's why she loves puzzles. That's why she's great at tests, because the parameters are already set. If you've never seen the anime No Game, No Life, there's a great speech at the start of it where the two main characters talk about how if life was like a game, they would have completely mastered it. But the truth is that life doesn't follow clear rules. There's not enough that's obvious or understood, or not enough people are playing by the rules as they would be for it to be something you can do, just like brute force with logic, And it's because we just don't know enough. If you've heard of the knowledge bell curve, probably, that when you first start taking an interest in something, you feel like you know a lot about it. And then the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know about it. And then eventually you get to a point of realizing that you know more than anybody else. But that doesn't mean that you know a lot. It could mean that you're like, wow, I'm the world's foremost expert in the fact that we don't know shit about this. I was surprised, just at a cursory glance, how hard it is to find information about pre-colonial Virginia. The land itself has been here forever. And there's plenty of information about everything from colonial times onwards, but so little recorded history about anything before that, because so much of it was destroyed deliberately, over time. It's just there's not enough knowledge to go around to know enough to really win a debate at high levels. And when it comes to having arguments about what is or isn't true, they're pointless. Something either is or isn't true. If you think it might be true but you can't prove it, you can argue why you think it might be true. And I guess that's where the realm of most debate is happening, is well, I think this might be true. But more often than not, if you're having those arguments, it's just because you don't know enough. Somebody definitely knows you're wrong. Or else it's a debate not worth having, or you're why argue about it instead of looking into it, instead of trying to actually take the scientific approach, I think in the arts and the sciences, in these disciplines, there are clear answers, and it's not even a matter of right and wrong. It's just something exists, you can't prove that there is good or bad cinematography, but you can definitely prove that cinematography of different types has different psychological effects on the viewer. That's factual. So you as a camera person, whether or not you think this camera angle looks good, it definitely has a psychological effect. And whether you're trying to or not trying to take advantage of it, it is happening, That psychological effect might be inconsistent with different people and stuff, but all of that can be measured to an extent. How much of the effect can you really measure? Or what does the effect mean? What does it mean that it does that? Why does it do that? These are questions that get harder to answer. But again, there's a bell curve, and if you hit, for me as a multidisciplinary artist, I have hit that moment in a bunch of different fields where I go, oh, I understand that nobody knows this, or I understand that like it can't be taught. Like a lot of people don't realize, especially in the world of cinematography, like very rarely is an impressive shot from a movie something that was like taught to that photographer in school. It's like they know how to do photography through what they've studied, but what they studied was conclusions that professors came to through looking at lots of photography and saying, well, here's what this one does, and here's how this was accomplished, and then a director, imagines, oh, well, if that's true, then this could also be true, and then they, make that true, and then now that exists in the lexicon forever, and everybody knows you can do that, but nobody knew before it happened. Same with science. Once you've proven something, everybody knows it now forever. But with debate, nobody learns anything. Like either one person is telling another person facts and that person therefore changes their stance or ignores facts publicly, or nothing happens. Those are the two situations that happen in a debate. The funniest thing to me about debate people is that they almost seem like unaccepting of ideas that they can't have explained or proven to them, which I feel like is a terrifying way to live, because if you can't just like accept basic truths that you don't understand, then like I don't know how you make it through life. Like you don't have to think about how to breathe, you just breathe. In fact, thinking about it makes it harder. Although if you're trying to be more like some people breathe badly, and so there's an amount of thinking you can do to correct that, change the habit, make it so now you are breathing correctly. But like, it usually is not a logically involved process. Most things about living are things that we just do and just understand. And the harder you have to think, to do, or to understand, the more disconnected you are from really being human. When I hear Destiny on the Adam Friedland show, like he kept almost like negging the fact that other people make cultural references he doesn't get. Like he thinks that like it makes him superior to not have to reference culture or something. And it's like, how do you understand how to talk to humans? How can you understand what we're debating about if you don't understand culture? Culture is the main thing being debated. Culture basically is debate. How can you not be paying attention to culture, but be arguing with people who live in culture? What the hell is your perspective? What is the point of you being in a conversation if you don't understand what the conversation is about? The saddest part is that almost always these debate people walk around thinking that they're like way smarter than most people, and usually they come off way dumber than most people, like that they know how to debate really well and they don't know how to do fucking anything else. Destiny does not seem like he has any life, any like sense of self outside of his ability to debate, and he's not even good at it. Like he's good at being mean and talking over people and putting people off their guard and moving goalposts, changing what they're there to say. When I talk about this argument I had with Destiny, people still bring it up to me as though I went into the argument to say that you don't have to prove facts and logics to win a debate. I went into the argument, and you can go back and listen to it, I encourage you to prove that he was a disingenuous douchebag. That was my goal. I told him that on Twitter. I said, you're a disingenuous douchebag. He said, prove it. I then did through tweets, and he said, that doesn't prove it. And then I went on his show to argue how it proves it. And he led me into an argument where he, putting words in my mouth, said that I was saying you don't need to use facts and logic to win a debate, which isn't what I was saying at all. I was saying you don't always have to use facts and logic to win a debate, because some things are self-evidently true, like the earth is round. I don't have to prove that to an audience for them to agree with me because they know it's true. And to me, winning a debate is getting the audience to agree with you. It's not I don't know, winning more points like a TKO in a boxing match or whatever. Like, the point is that you're making everyone realize a truth. You're making everybody come to an agreement that the truth is in fact true. That's the goal of a debate, I would think. So you can't win a debate by proving a lie. You can't prove a lie, you know, like, and if everybody in the audience knows it's a lie, how is that a win? It just doesn't add up to me. But yeah, like, what had bothered me through the whole debate was that he just kept acting like I, by necessity, was just like an idiot. And from my perspective, it was like, I'm trying to make you understand why, to me, you look stupid. And instead, you're just telling me that I'm stupid for reasons you're like making up because you want me to be stupid. Like, you don't want me to be smart. That was the impression I got from Destiny. It was like, he doesn't want me to be intelligent. He doesn't want me to be thinking what he's thinking. He wants to be beating me in a debate. And that's not the way I operate. I operate to actually change people's minds. I'm not doing it as like a public spectacle. He was a real freak about it too, talking about it on the show, that he's like, oh, it makes me like come every time I make someone feel bad about themselves and their opinions. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is wrong with you, you know? Like, I thought I was coming to be like, hey, maybe readdress the way that you behave and, you know, everybody will like you more type thing. But that's not what debate people are concerned about. They don't want to be liked, they want to be right. But you can't be right unless you are at the top of your field and you're actually in a field. And you're probably not. I get that debate is fun. It's like a fun pastime activity, at least in my mind. Like I said, I grew up arguing with my mom, and like, from my perspective, like, when I was growing up, I never saw it as like an angry thing we were doing. I just saw it as like, this is how we communicate. And I think my mom is similar. She never saw it as like, I mean, she'll get a lot more agitated than I do from arguing because she does sincerely want to be right. But like, my dad would hear us arguing, he would just be like exasperated immediately, you know. He's not even in the argument. He just don't want to hear it. He doesn't like hearing the energy of that. And so I feel like, you know, debate people, a lot of them, they'll look at that like a weakness in and of itself. They're like, well, everything has to be hashed out. How can you ever define anything if things don't have to be defined? Don't gotta. Some people need to define some things to do their jobs, not you. You don't need to know the difference between a fucking brontosaurus and a brachiosaurus. It will never help you in any conversation other than with a paleontologist or a nerd. Anyways, I'm gonna go cold camping tonight because I'm the only YouTuber with real holiday spirit, as you can see by the jammies. They are the jam. I'm Trixie the Golden Witch. Everything of mine is in the link tree. I've been recording lots of stuff lately and not releasing it, so at some point there's gonna be like a whole bunch of shit that comes out. It might not be soon. It might be soon. I don't know if anyone will want any of it. You will. It's all good stuff. But it's coming, you know? Just like your mom.